So I'm sure you're familiar with the term, nothing in this world is free. For the most part, it's true. You may get like free pens or free t-shirts, and if you're lucky, you might get a free coffee mug. But Fidelity has proven that to be incorrect. So for those of you who are new to this channel, I'm Trey and welcome to Let's Talk Finances, where on this channel, we help you get out of debt, stay out of debt, reach financial independence so that you can ultimately begin building wealth. So if that's something that you are interested in, subscribe to this channel and also hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any other content just like this one. Let's go over to begin with why exactly Fidelity has offered 4 zero expense ratio mutual funds. Well, the answer is pretty simple. And if you stay tuned until the end of the video, I'll let you know whether I believe that these funds are actually worth the investment. They are a company that wants to dominate the market because for the longest, Vanguard has been the company that has offered the lowest expense ratio funds. Before I start breaking down these 4 funds that are available to you, let me give you an analogy that will kind of help it make sense as to why or what it is exactly they're looking to accomplish. So let's say, for some reason I always find myself using like grocery store analogies, but maybe it's because I'm a fat kid at heart. But let's say that you need to go grocery shopping. The grocery store that you typically go to starts putting out marketing that, hey, we are offering a free gallon of milk. So you being a consumer, obviously free is generally always good. What do? You go to that grocery store and you're looking for that free gallon of milk. Are they cheating you? No, they actually are offering you a free gallon of milk. However, what they know is that you, being the consumer, it's very unlikely that you're gonna come to that grocery store and only get a free gallon of milk. It's very likely that you're gonna need some eggs. You're probably gonna need some bread. You're probably gonna want some cheese. I mean, unless you're lactose intolerant, and if that's the case, you probably don't want the milk either. You're probably gonna want some chips or some ground beef or what have you. This grocery store is offering you that free gallon of milk to lure you in, and now that you're there, it's time to start shopping. And that's exactly what Fidelity has done here. So with this being said, let's go ahead and break down these 4 mutual funds that are offered by Fidelity. So mutual fund number 1, the Fidelity Zero Total Market Index Fund, ticker symbol VZROX. Here are some facts about this particular fund. Now, it does not invest in companies with less than $75 million in market capital. So this automatically eliminates a good portion of those small and mid-cap companies. It still does hold right at about 2,500 companies. Its top 10 holdings makes up 18%, and it's very similar to the Russell 3000 Total Stock Market Index. For those of you who have been doing any type of research on Vanguard, this one is going to emulate, or at least tries to emulate, Vanguard's Total Stock Market Index Fund, which is VTSAX. So for those of you who are currently looking to make the decision to go with Fidelity, or let's say maybe you are already investing with Fidelity, put down in the comments below what you think about these zero expense ratio funds. Do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing? Or are you indifferent on the matter? Fidelity Fund number 2 that has a zero expense ratio, and that is Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund, ticker symbol VNILX. This one is supposed to replicate and or emulate the S&P 500. However, you won't hear it advertised as such. The reason being is they don't want to pay the licensing fee. So typically you'll hear, like, for instance, Vanguard 500 Index Fund, which emulates the S&P 500, along with Fidelity's quote-unquote S&P 500 Index Fund. Well, in this case, they didn't want to pay the extra money for the licensing, so they left it simply at Fidelity Zero Large Cap Index Fund, and they left the S&P 500 out of it. However, That's what you have me for, to explain to you exactly what it is, all right? So it emulates the S&P 500. It has about $227 million in assets currently, which is relatively low, but to their credit, it's probably like a year and a half old. So it's actually doing pretty well at $227 million in assets. Now, in terms of the amount of companies that it holds, I mean, it pretty much emulates the S&P 500, so it's going to be 500 of the largest and or most successful companies in the United States. It's the equivalent to Vanguard's VFIAX. Which brings us to the next category, and that is smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. The third zero expense ratio fund that is offered, and that is Fidelity ZERO Extended Market Index Fund, ticker symbol VZIPX. This one is actually meant to be paired with the fund that I just mentioned, and the reason being, the previous mention was large cap funds only, so it doesn't really have much small or mid cap saturation. So for that reason, it's intended for VZIPX to be paired with VNILX. Now this one actually comprises of about 2,000 companies which are small and mid caps. Here's the kicker. If you add these two together, it actually replicates the first fund that was mentioned, which was Fidelity ZERO Total Stock Market Index. In this case, you would choose one or the other. You can go with the first mentioned, or you can actually add number 2 and number 3 to get the total stock market index. If you're one of those that are currently still undecided between Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab's, in this video, I actually went over the differences between the three to help you make an informed decision. So watch that video after this one. And the fourth zero expense ratio fund, Fidelity ZERO International Index Fund, ticker symbol VZILX. Now, this one is actually supposed to replicate or emulate FTIHX, which is Fidelity's current Total International Stock Market Index Fund, VZILX. But there is a big difference between the two, all right, in case you were wondering. The Zero Expense Ratio International Fund currently offers about 2,300 companies, to whereas the typical fund offers almost 5,000, so it's less than half, which is a pretty significant difference. Let's get into what exactly is the big deal. These four funds are actually considered to be a loss leader. So what exactly is a loss leader? A loss leader means that there is really no intent to make any gains from a financial and or business standpoint. And again, the analogy that I used initially just means they're trying to get you in the door, especially for young investors or millennials. Because I come from a marketing background, I pretty much understand what they're trying to employ here. They want to get you in the building, because when they get you in the building, they have things set in place that'll make you want to buy more. The thought process here is, hey, we don't really have to make much money on these four, because if we can just get them in the door, we offer so much more that they'll probably want to spend money on. So with that being said, the question would be, if you are currently at Charles Schwab's or Vanguard for that matter, would it be worth it to move your funds from where you are currently over to Fidelity? Currently, the average is 0.10% to every $100 that you have invested, and that's for an expense ratio. So think about it in this terms. For every $10,000 that you invest with Vanguard, you're gonna pay on average $10. $10. Do I think it's worth going over to Fidelity? I won't be leaving Vanguard. For a new investor that isn't with any particular brokerage account, I would say yes, it's worth considering going to Fidelity, not necessarily because of these zero expense ratio funds, but they're actually a good platform. Alright guys, so there you have it. The 4 zero expense ratio funds that Fidelity is offering, what they entail, what they're comprised of, and whether it's a good, solid investment for you. If you found this video to be helpful in any way, go ahead and subscribe to this channel, as it helps this channel to grow so that I can continue making videos just like this one. And in addition, don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any other content just like this one. As always, guys, I want to thank the men and women of this country who have served and who are currently serving. I greatly appreciate you, and so do we all. So until the next video, guys, let's talk finances then.